Hello, hello, it's Julie Davison from juliedavison.com. Welcome to Friday Night Stamp Therapy. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. It is Friday, November 29th, 2024, and Thanksgiving was yesterday here in the United States. So I hope that you enjoyed the holiday. I am still away in Michigan visiting mom and dad and some other family, and so it has been a very busy week so far. Mom and I are looking forward to stamping together with you and bringing you some new Sunday stamping episodes this weekend, so be sure to tune in on Sunday at noon and 12:30 Central Time to see our videos. But today I promised you that I would go live, and this is actually going to be pre-recorded, but I wanted to share the November bonus project kit with you. So every single month I have a new project kit that you can earn for free when you order $40 or more in my online store before tax and shipping. And so today I'm going to share that project kit with you. Now, if you're a team member, you can subscribe to get my project kits for a steal of a price at just $5 a month. But there's also an option to buy past kits. And so I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, before the video goes up, I'm going to be able to get last month's kit posted for you. If not, watch for it tomorrow, and I'll be able to ship them starting next week when I get home. So last month's kit for October featured the Reindeer Fun designer paper. You remember my project kit video from last time. And so the materials to make these cards, as well as the back pocket card layout, the designer paper, all of that is included in the kit. So you can find those past kits at juliedavison.com/kits. And I've got, or will have, the October kit, plus all the other kits from this year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and now October. So check that out at juliedavison.com/kits. The kit I am showing you tonight will be there next month around this time. So there are 3 ways to get my kits. You can either make a purchase, order $40 or more, and you'll get it for free. Or you can be a team member and subscribe to my kits for $5 a month. Or you can purchase the kits the month after they are released. So I'm super excited about this month's kit. Now, last night I was talking about Regal Winter, and that was a suite that I originally had planned to feature, but a lot of you were kind of lukewarm about it. And one of the things I realized about that designer paper is that it didn't have any images to cut out and use on the projects. And I always love using the designer paper that has images like the birds. And so I decided to switch gears and use the Nest of Winter instead. But if you missed last night's video, be sure to check it out because I shared 11 different project ideas using the Regal Winter suite and that designer paper. So I think you'll be inspired. If you're looking for ideas using the other one, check that out. But these are going to be the projects that are in the November bonus project kit. So let's talk about the Nest of Winter. This is in the September through December 2024 mini catalog. It's on pages 30 and 31, and it includes a 12 by 12 designer paper that has some beautiful imagery of birds. Now, you may have seen this one over and over the course of the last few months because Stampin' Up! Featured this suite and allowed demonstrators to order early during the Creativity Now virtual event that they held in June, I think it was. And so many demonstrators have had this suite for a long time, and so we've been sharing projects for quite a while. In fact, I have several other videos where I share quite a few projects, and I'll share some of those samples with you tonight throughout tonight's video. But this is the one I wanted to feature because not only does it have images that you can cut from the paper, but it also is not specifically for Christmas. So the sentiments in the stamp set are sending thanks and much love, thinking of you always, and a friend like you brings me happiness. And so I think that these are really great sentiments for cards to send in the wintertime. But of course, I think you'll reach for these all year round. The birds also have some imagery that can be used, I think, throughout the year as well. There's some branches, some berries, and some willow. We have coordinating dies that die cut the stamped images. There's also this really fantastic frame, as well as some detailed pine needles. The suite includes the, now I'm trying to remember the name of this. the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. So this is one of those bigger ones. There is some twine, the Natural Tones linen thread, and also the Earth Tone Shimmer gems. Now these are all part of the suite. I'm actually not going to use these items on the projects today because I'm going to do a little something different. So let me show you the designer paper. Your project kit is going to include 4x6 pieces of the designer paper and a half a package of the classic matte dots. Now these are retired, but I think they go really well with the neutral colors in this designer paper. Now this paper is 12 by 12, so you're seeing a smaller bit of it, but I think you can imagine the larger piece. This one especially has lots of different birds on branches with the holly and the berries. So it is a little seasonally winter, but I don't think it is. It is definitely not just for Christmas. On the back side, we've got some great patterns like this one, blue sky, with sort of maybe some snow falling. Here we have the birch wood, and on the back, some willows. Here's one that coordinates with the dies. So both of these birds, the red bird, the robin, and the blue birds, I don't know my birds, both of these die cut from the coordinating dies. And so there is just those birds kind of tiled throughout the designer paper, which is really awesome. On the back side, another pool party design. On here, we have some tall birch trees with a couple smaller birds throughout. And the back side, I really love this design, almost some like Queen Anne's lace. I sort of feel like, and a few little birds in there as well. I almost missed them because they're so small. This one I just love with all the little imagery. We've got some pine cones and some branches, as well as some smaller images, and we'll fussy cut one of those for our cards tonight. And the back side here, some green stripes, which I think is really versatile to use in lots of different ways. So let me start with a couple bonus project ideas. Let me see. I'm just going to pick. I'll start with these two. So here's one I did, and I think this was actually, no, I was thinking it was a 12 Days of Christmas video, but I don't think that it was. I used some embossing paste here on the edges, the birch wood embossing folder there in the background, and then I fussy cut those. This actually, I think this was one of the Creativity Now projects, and I just stepped it up by adding some of the embossing paste to it. On the inside, another little fussy cut bird from the designer paper. And here's one that shows off some of the stamped images. This swap card is from Betsy Kreider. She used the Peace on Earth from Christmas labels, but this branch comes from the Winterly Treetops stamp set, and then she fussy cut a bird from the designer paper. Really love the way that that one turned out. I'll show you some more card ideas as we go, but let's get started with the first card in our kit. Now, I always love doing these monthly kits because it's an opportunity to share a new back pocket card layout, and this month is no exception. Now, if you're not familiar, if this is your first time watching my channel or hearing about the back pocket card layouts, this is something that I've done for 2 years now, and it is a postcard size and weight. It has a card layout with measurements, and on the flip side, it has 2 full color samples featuring that card layout. Now, this is something, like I said, I've been doing for a while, and so if you have been stamping with me for a while, you might have a whole collection that looks like this. I like to keep them on a binder ring, so I just punch a hole. But it is such a great resource when I am sitting down to make a card and feeling a little bit stumped. I turn to the back pocket card layouts, and I can find a layout that I like. If I need a little inspiration, I can look on the back side to kind of get some different ideas, but I have the measurements right there. So it's so handy. You can just put it right in your back pocket and save it save it for a rainy day when you're needing some inspiration. So the newest back pocket card layout will be included in the card kit. If you're a team member, all of my team members get the back pocket card layouts every quarter when they meet their quarterly minimum. So this card will be included in the quarterly cards that I send out in January. So that'll be after the October, November, December quarter. And as long as you've met your quarterly minimum, you'll receive those cards automatically. But if you are subscribing to the kits as a team member, then you'll get them every month with the kits. Now, I do have a special opportunity coming up. Claire is home from college, and she's going to help me again to compile a set of all 12 for 2024 and share those in a special package. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but she's helping me out so that we can raise money to go towards her college fund. So I'm so excited to offer that again. Watch for details. We're still working all of that out, but I hope to have it in the next week or so. So I'm going to shoot for promising that I'll have some details to share before next Thursday night. So, and I've given myself a timeline. Thursday night, expect to hear some details next week on how to get the 2024 back pocket card layout collection, the whole collection. All right, so here is the card that we're going to make, and let me show you actually the original card sample that I designed for the back pocket card. I had to make some changes because I did use some of this original twine that comes in the suite, the Natural Tones linen thread, but I wouldn't have enough to put in everybody's packet, so I decided to switch it up a little bit and do white thread instead. I also switched the circle and the tag, and Claire was kind of helping me get the colors just right, and so we are using opposite colors. So we're going to use the gray granite for the tag and a white circle instead. I really like the way that this turned out. So first we're going to start by cutting the designer paper. And so I'm going to choose this pattern, which is the one that I used on my original card. Although I have to say, when I was working on my alternate card sample, I also really loved the way it looked with this paper. So you might try to switch it up if you if you like to do that. I'm gonna take my cardstock first, and I am going to cut at 5 1/4, and that leaves a little 3/4 by 4-inch piece. And I'm going to save this for the inside, and I'm going to use it at the bottom of my white cardstock. I'm going to take the remaining piece and I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4. So I'm just going to cut just a little bit off, and then we're going to put this on the front of the card. So let me put the paper trimmer aside. I'm also going to cut for this card a little bird from this set, and you can choose any of them, but I'm going to do the one up here. I think this is a cute little bird. I'm going to fussy cut that image. Now, I did say there are some coordinating dies that die cut some of the images on a different sheet of this designer paper, but this one with the little birds does not have any coordinating dies. So if you want to use any of these, then you'll want to cut them out with scissors. But I think fussy cutting like this, you could do like a whole image. You could do all of them if you wanted to. You could just sit, you know, like if you sit and watch TV like I do sometimes in the evening. It's kind of a nice thing to do while you're just, you know, just kind of doing something else, multitasking a little bit. Sometimes I will bring a project like this in the car when we're traveling, and I'll do some fussy cutting. So one of the things that I need to do in the car on the way home is tie some linen thread bows. I have a project that I'm working on, and I need to tie a bunch of bows. So I brought my scissors and my linen thread, and I'm just going to kind of sit and tie bows while I'm sitting in the car. So just something else you can do to multitask there. All right, now I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to take our little tag here, and I want to add a little banner tip. So I'm going to do my regular banner tip trick. I'm going to cut right in the center, about 1/2 inch or so, and then I'm going to cut from each corner to the top of that center cut and create that banner tip. Okay, then I'm going to take the top. I want to do like sort of a tag top. So I'm going to take the top corner like this, and I'm going to cut. I'm going to save this corner, and I'm going to turn it around and line it up with the other corner. Now, this is a little tedious to hang on to, but when you can line it up and cut, then your top of the tag is going to look even and straight. So that's my little tip for getting even and straight top edges, and a nice little banner tip at the bottom. All right, let's keep going with this card. I did hear dinner is ready, so I'm gonna do my video in parts tonight. I'm gonna finish this card, and then I'll come back and do the other ones and smash the video together. And then I will join you again in the chat to say hello. I'm sure we're gonna be playing some games after dinner. My niece and nephew are here, so I'm really excited to play with them and to hang out while we have them here. So hard to to work and to spend time with family. So I appreciate all of your patience this weekend as I am trying to still share with you while still enjoying my family. Leave a comment, let me know, what are you doing this weekend? Are you hanging out with family, or are you shopping? Are you putting up Christmas decorations? I can't believe that it is almost December 1st, and we are anxious to get our tree up. And so when we get home from traveling, I think we plan to do that on Sunday. Well, at least a couple of us do. Some of us are a little resistant to Christmas decorating. I won't name any names, but I am excited to get the tree up. And so that is the plan for Sunday afternoon when we are home. I just love the lights. I love having sort of, well, you know, because it gets dark so early now. So I love having the Christmas lights and just sort of that like warm glow. I talked right through what I did, but I wrapped the twine around, the paper, and I tied a knot. So I've got kind of 2 strings around, and then our little bow. So this is going to be here on the basic black card base. I tried all sorts of colors, but I ended up really liking the black more than the other colors. And I think it's just because it makes the trees pop a little bit. So I'm going to tie that on first, and then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to line this up right at the top, which is unusual, right? Usually we put it right in the center. But for this card, I'm going to have it right at the top, and kind of have an even border on the bottom and the sides. Now, I'm pretty sure, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm pretty sure that this layout came from the mini catalog, and I'm trying to remember now what page that was on. So here's what I'm going to do, because I have to pause the video anyway to go eat dinner. I'm going to check the page, and then I will I will share with you before we move on to the next project how we case this one. All right, we are coming along well. We've got our tag, we've got our little bird, and so for this card, I'm going to do the greeting that says, "Sending thanks and much love." I think that's such a perfect sentiment to send out thank you cards after Christmas or after the holidays when you've received a gift. Sending thanks and much love. So I'm going to go a little higher here on, oh, do you see that? I caught a little ink there at the bottom. Mom's got some juicy ink pads here. I'm not used to the being so juicy and picking up the extra ink. I'm going to try to be a little lighter handed here. Not push so hard at the bottom. There we go. I was starting to say I want to keep it a little bit higher because our little fussy cut bird is going to go towards the bottom. So we're going to get out some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to attach the circle with Stampin' Dimensionals to the tag. And then we're going to also use Stampin' Dimensionals under the bird. So right there in the center, and then one under the bird. And oh, that's so cute. I love that right there. All right, so now we're going to kind of tuck this in. I like to do this where it's like a faux bow. It's wrapped around the paper, and I slide the tag underneath, and so it looks like it's tied onto the tag, but it's actually not. I'm referencing my other card. I think I did use some Stampin' Dimensionals, so I'll go ahead and put Stampin' Dimensionals, one more layer on the back of our card here. And I'm thinking now about that project. I think it was a box, and I copied the box and made a card version of it. So I think it might just be on this same page with the birds. We'll double check really quick here. Lifting up the bow, gonna just kind of slide that under, tuck that in. I like having it at a little angle there. I think it just lends to the tag look. But we probably want to bling this up, so let's get out those classic matte dots. And I'm looking at my sample again because I'm trying to remember where I put them. I had a hard time with this one. I think I used the vanilla just to kind of tie in some of the other really great neutrals in this designer paper. And there are 2 sizes of the gems, so I'm going to do, you could do one up there. I think I might keep it low down here though, so just kind of around the bird. All right, there's our finished first card. And again, here is the original sample that you're going to see on the back pocket card layout. So it's a little bit different with the green twine and a different bird here. And you certainly could make it this way at home, but here's what we've got the pieces for in the kit. Let me grab that catalog. Let's see really quick. I think this was, yeah, there it is. Right there on page 30. So I forgot that I cased the catalog with this card design. They added a lot more die cutting here around the circle. They did have it kind of off-centered, and they used that other bird and some different twine. So that was like a little box or a gift bag made out of the designer paper. And so I transferred that to a card front and made it my own way. Card number 2 is our fun fold card. I always love to include a fun fold in these monthly card kits. And this card was inspired by one I had in my stash that I made a few years ago with this golf set. And it has kind of 2 different flops like this. Well, I decided I wanted to have all of it come from one card base. So I started with gray granite. It is a 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of cardstock, scored in half at 4 1/4. Then I cut from the fold 2 1/4 inches, and this is the piece that was left. So 2 1/4 next to the fold, and a 2-inch piece that is coming off the end. This is going to be the bottom of our card, and the piece that's left over, we are going to take and score at 4 1/4. And so then we have a flap. So this is going to then go behind the inside of the card base, and the flap will close on top. So we need some designer paper to go down here, and we're also going to do a little fussy cutting of a bird for our focal image. So let's turn back to our designer paper. For the flap on the front, I'm going to use the birch designer paper. On the back side, we've got the willows. And then I'm going to cut from this piece. And I do want to use this design for the last card. So I want to try to choose something that is on the top or bottom half of the card. Now, if you are choosing a bird that's right in the middle and you won't be able to use it, the back side for the last card, you can always use the back of this side if you want to. So I'm going to cut these birds here. I'm going to fussy cut them and just use my scissors to kind of cut those out. This one does not have the dies. And so the difference between the 2 sheets, the one with the berries, all the berries, no pine, is the one that coordinates with the dies. And the one that has all the pine branches do not coordinate. So if you're not sure, that's how you can tell the difference. The one with all the pine does not have any dies that go with it. So we're going to cut that one out. And this one, I think this is the same bird I used on my example, but this sheet has a lot of different birds, and some of them are single birds and they're not in a pair. So your card might look totally different with a different bird here as the focal image. And there is definitely no wrong way to do it. So you just choose whatever bird you want to die cut. You can also, or fussy cut, you can also use the stamp image, and you can stamp and cut out, die cut or cut out a bird for your focal image as well. Now, if you don't have the coordinating winterly treetops stamp set, you can always use a different bird, a different image. It doesn't even have to be a bird, really. I guess you could use whatever you'd like. You could do trees. Oh, I kind of love that. You could do some Christmas trees. Do something a little different. Now, my design kind of gets cut off here, so I'm just going to kind of do my best to cut around and round out the branch so it's not so like straight edged, and I think that's going to work out just fine. Mom and Dad have amazing bird feeders set up in the front and the backyard. And so we were watching some cardinals at lunchtime that were coming to feed. So many cardinals. They just have so many great birds. The cardinals are the ones that stuck out in my head. There were some other birds that were there this morning as well that were feeding. Do you guys love to watch birds, or do you have bird feeders and other bird baths, things like that in your home? I know in the summertime, hummingbirds, it's so fun to watch the hummingbirds. We used to have a lot of bird feeders, and that was before we had kids. Now we have kids. We used to watch birds, now we watch kids. No, it's a little hectic around our house, and so we don't enjoy some of those same outdoor things that we used to. But I remember when we were first married, Jim was an avid bird watcher, and so we had binoculars and the book parked in the kitchen cabinet, and we had all kinds of bird feeders in the back that he really enjoyed looking after. Let's grab our paper trimmer and cut our designer paper piece. So this is that birch design, and I'm going to cut it 2 inches. So this is actually cutting it right in half, and then I'm going to cut at 5 1/4. So your Birch Designer Paper piece is 2 by 5 1/4. Save those for another card. And this is going to go down here at the bottom of the front. So let's go ahead and glue that down. And I'm using gray granite for the card base. I think I forgot to say that earlier. Now, we want to make sure to put the flap on the back of the inside piece. So I'm gonna just use some regular adhesive. You can use tear and tape if you want there. And I'm going to go about an inch or so. Maybe that's an inch and 1/4. I'm going to just fold that onto the back, and I'm coming from the left side, but you can always do the same from the right. Now I thought about doing another banner tip here at the bottom, but I think I'm going to actually just do a little torn edge and kind of mix things up a little bit. So I just tore the edge. You want to make sure that you are, and you can always tear more if you want to, but I want a little bit of that designer paper to show on the bottom. So after I've got that tag attached to the back of my back piece, I'm going to go ahead and attach the white inside the card. Let's stamp our sentiments next. On the front, I want to use the Thinking of You Always, and I have a little piece of Garden Green to stamp this on. Oh, there's that little halo again. Let me try one more time. Gotta remember not to push so hard. And then for the inside, I'm going to do A Friend Like You Brings Me Happiness. And definitely gonna have a light touch here because I can't flip it over. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so this is gonna get covered up, and so you won't see it. You have to be careful when you're stamping on the inside piece because you will see some of each of the sides there. So you want to make sure that you're not, you know, that you're not stamping in that area unless you want to see it from the front, which is totally optional as well. I have embossed with the Birchwood embossing folder on a piece of white cardstock that's 2.5 by 2.5, and now I'm layering it onto basic black that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Let's grab a bone folder here and just get a nice good crease on our pieces, and hopefully this will help it to lay flat for us. Well, a little flatter. This is going to go here on the tag, and I am not knowledgeable of these such things, but I've heard that the birch bark should go horizontal, so I want to make sure that I'm putting it that way instead of this way, although we're going to cover a lot of it up with the bird, and so oops, so it probably won't make that much of a difference. But if you want to be correct, make sure your birch bark is going in that horizontal direction. All right, so that's going to center right over the tag, and then we're going to add the birds with Stampin' Dimensionals. Oh, I just love this image. Here is our Stampin' Dimensionals, and going to add, I think that's good. You could use some of the mini Stampin' Dimensionals on some of these outer edges. Maybe I should use a couple of those. I don't think of the mini ones very often. I don't use them a lot at home, but Mom has them all over her table, and so they're nice and handy. I should just have them out more. All right, I'm going to add this now on my other sample, which I'm looking at on the side. It went, my birds actually, they were different birds. I did use different birds, and my other birds leaned the other direction. So I think I'm going to attach these and then put the Thinking of You kind of on the other side. Oh, Julie, what are you doing? I want to move them over just a little, but I used so many dimensionals. I didn't push down too hard yet. Let's see if I can still scoot them over. Okay. And yes, that works out better. I'm going to add some dimensionals here on the back. Thinking of you. Oh, I really love the way this one turned out. Let me get rid of my dimensionals here. Here is my other sample. And you can see I just used a different set of birds, and I had the thinking of you on the other side. So in hindsight, maybe I would put the whole tag on this side so that the greeting was going more towards the center of the card, but it still works. Let's go ahead and add the same embellishments that we did, or that I did on the earlier card. I'm going to use a couple of the black dots, and I debated here on whether to do 2 or 3. Let me show you what 3 looks like, and you can leave a comment and let me know how many you would use, because I decided earlier that I preferred the 2. I don't know why, I just liked the 2 better. But if you like to have 3s, then you could do 3 there. You can do however many you want to. You can add them in a different direction. But oh, where did that one come from? All right, so this or that, 2 or 3 dots for your embellishments here. Let me know what you think, and tell me what you think about this fun fold. I kind of like that it just has a different way of opening, and kind of fun. So just be careful when you're writing that you keep it, you know, where it's going to be covered to write your message. All right, that's our second card, our flat fold card. Let's move on to, oh, before I move on to card number 3, I wanted to show you some more samples. And I think I forgot to show you, I think I forgot to show you this one. Let me scoot those over. Our first card, did I show you the Regal Winter? Here was the second version of it in person from the back pocket card layout with the tag. I don't know. I really love them both. That Regal Winter paper is just so pretty. Both of these are in the mini catalog, and so it's very possible, very likely, that they will both be discontinued and on the last chance list. And I think I mentioned this yesterday, but the last chance list is going to be posted on Tuesday, December 3rd, with some items being discounted. So be sure to check out the list. There's actually going to be a whole section of the online store, and the last chance items are going to stay there until they sell out. So we'll see some last chance items that will just stay in that section and be available until they sell out, and it might be a few months. We'll also see some things that will sell out really quickly. So if there's anything that you like from the mini catalog, especially, make sure that you order right away and don't wait to get your favorites. So check that out starting December 3rd, which is next week. It's hard to believe, just a few days away. Here's some additional samples using the Winterly Treetops. I just wanted to share some of these with you. This one using the birch designer paper for the background, and I stamped on the white cardstock. So this one was a little bit of an inspiration. As I was creating the card, I was kind of doing some of the same concepts, and actually I stamped a piece with the green, and I just felt like it was really busy behind the bird, so I ended up changing that to be embossed, and I think I like that better. But this one with the single bird, I think it definitely looks nice to add kind of some of that greenery in there. And then I stamped a little greeting and a greenery on the inside. Here's another card. This is one I featured during my Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie video featuring the Nest of Winter. And I actually had cut the designer paper the wrong way. So it was supposed to be a vertical, like these elements were supposed to be vertical, and I ended up changing them, but I don't mind so much. So I used a lot of the stamp images here, stamping the bird and the willows and the greenery, as well as some die cut pine in there, the birch embossing folder in the background. But I love the way that turned out. Oh, I forgot I did this on the inside, a little brushing with the stencil. I'll link up to this video in the video description so you can check it out if you would like to see all the details and watch me create this card. And then lastly, here's another card that I made, and another Thursday video featuring the Nest of Winter designer paper. This one is so simple and sweet with this great designer paper and the green stripes in the background. I used a little Wink of Stella on the die cut pines But I really loved this clean and simple layout. And our next card kind of has another version of this clean and simple layout with a piece that goes across and then a layered piece. So we're going to use some cherry cobbler for this one. And let's break out our designer paper. I wanted to use the blue for our background, and so I am going to cut a little bit of this. And I'm also going to die cut some birds from this designer paper. Now, if you don't have the coordinating dies, you can fussy cut, just dropped something. But I want to use the coordinating dies. I love that there are dies that go with this. And I meant to get out Mom's little mini, her little mini die cutting machine so that you could watch me die cut. But you guys know how to die cut, right? So I am just going to go off camera with this really quick, holding it down with some sticky notes, and I'm going to die cut this image. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I love designer paper that has coordinating dies. So easy to die cut those. And like I mentioned earlier, this entire page, this one that has the robins and the bluebirds, they all die cut. So you can be very strategic in the way that you cut this paper and die cut all the birds that you want. Now I'm going to cut this one down. So let's get our paper trimmer. And this is going to be 3 inches by 4. And since I already have 4 inches here, I'm just going to cut 3 inches on the side. And if you don't have enough room on that paper, then you can use you should have enough of this paper to do a 3x4 piece. I like the pattern here because it's a little more subtle, but this one will also work if you need to. The other pieces in the kit include a white piece of cardstock that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that is going to be to layer the designer paper. Easy peasy. I have a 2 3/4 inch circle, and we're going to stick that in the top center. We're going to have the birds. Oh, I love the way that looks. We're going to use some Stampin' Dimensional under the birds and pop them up to go on the circle. And then some other pieces for the inside. We have a white piece of cardstock. I actually did not plan what I was going to do for that. I should have planned that a little bit better. Let's bring in some garden green. This is not a card color or color I'm using on the front of the card, but I do really love the way this looks just simply at the bottom of the cardstock. I just think it's really pretty. So I'm going to do that one in garden green. Let's put that at the bottom. And I think on the inside, I'm going to bring in our thanks stamp, sending thanks and so much love. Okay, and then while we have our black out for the front, we're going to do the third sentiment in the stamp set, which says, "A friend like you brings me happiness." I have to remember this one is a little bit more towards the top, and the bottom of the rubber is extra, hopefully. Hey! What you did not see is all the times I practiced off camera while I was designing the cards. So I'm just going to give this a little trim just to kind of even up. Actually, that looks pretty even. I'm still going to trim it just a little bit off the sides. Sometimes I keep my cardstock strips like this longer than they need to be, so that if I don't stamp in the center, if I don't quite make it, then I at least have like some wiggle room to trim it off and make it more even. For the bottom of the card, I have a 2 inch by 4 1/4 piece of early espresso that I have embossed with the birchwood embossing folder. So I'm going to glue this down, and I am going to come like I think a quarter 3/8 of an inch. Yeah, I think that's more like 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. Not all the way to the bottom, still a little wiggle room there. And then I'm going to add this across the top. So when I said a classic layout, this is definitely a layout I have used over and over again, having a strip at the bottom and then having an element like this. And I said it was very similar to this one because it kind of is, except instead of on the side, it's on the bottom. So there are lots of different variations of some of these simple layouts that you can use over and over again. My light just went out. Oopsie, sorry about that. Hopefully you can still see okay. I had an extra ring light here and it was plugged into the computer, which I think just ran out of juice. I am not at home with all my usual lights and gadgets. All right, I'm going to put that kind of at an angle, and if you don't like the angle, it's okay. You can put it on straight. I just kind of want to add a little something extra to this one. I'm going to add some more Stampin' Dimensionals under the greeting, and then also put that one, oops, I need to go over the tail under the berries. There's kind of that little spot in this sentiment where it fits under the berries so nicely. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. There. I'm trying to match the angle of, I want to match the angle of the designer paper across the card. So cute! So cute. Of course we need to add some bling. And I'm cheating to look at my sample to see where I put it. Oh yeah, I used the white ones. So this, the Classic Matte Dots has white, vanilla, basic gray, and basic black. So I'm going to use some down here in the corner, and then another one, oops, another one up there. There is our finished card. What do you think? I really love the colors on this one. This designer paper is very neutral tone. I'm trying to pull out all my samples. It's very neutral tone, and so I found it kind of hard to bring in a lot of color because there were a lot of like grays and black and that kind of thing. Even the birds had a lot of neutral tones to them. So I really love being able to add a pop of color. And you've got some leftover cardstock or designer paper rather here, so you can make some more cards with the Nest of Winter. But if you love this paper, I would highly encourage you to grab another pack, especially during this last chance event that's going to start on Tuesday. Before I let you go, I have just a couple more samples to share with you using this Nest of Winter designer paper. Here's one. I did this layout so many times in so many ways. I used pecan pie and early espresso. I had a hard time kind of matching the color in that designer paper, sort of this almost pinkish brown, and then I punched a piece from the designer paper. We actually didn't use that piece. Where did it go in the, there should be one more piece of designer paper. Did I not have it in my, oh, that's that one. Oh, weird. Well, I'm not sure if I've lost it at my desk or I didn't show it, but there was one more piece of designer paper that has this pattern with the willows, and I'm not sure what happened to it. I'm going to get it out and show you, I think, from the big pack. Here's another one. This was also for Creativity Now, using that branch, and I colored it with different colors. I added a little different designer paper here and some shaded spruce as well. Copper clay is this color. I never use copper clay. I really need to get that one out some more. Let me show you, let me dig out that paper really quick and show you. It is this pattern, and if I forgot to show it to begin with, then I just wanted to show you it is included. All 6 patterns of this designer paper will be included in the 4x6 sampler of the Nest of Winter designer paper that's part of the suite. All right, tell me which of these projects is your favorite. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future card making videos like Sunday stamping with Susan and Julie. We have a brand new video, 2 videos that we are planning for you for this week. So be sure to tune in at noon Central Time and 12:30 Central Time this coming Sunday. I'll actually be driving home, but I'll tune in on the chat for those 2 videos. So I look forward to chatting with you then. This week we are featuring the Utterly Adorable suite from Online Exclusives. Oh my gosh, I just love that one. So be sure to tune in and see what we create. Thank you again. Oh, and if you want to get this project kit featuring the Nest of Winter for free, be sure to order before November 30th, which is tomorrow. Oh my gosh, tomorrow. Yes, Saturday. Saturday, November 30th is the last day. Order $40 or more before tax and shipping to qualify to get this project kit for free featuring the Nest of Winter designer paper. And be sure to check out my website for past kits, including the reindeer fun. So you can do that at juliedavison.com/kits. I'll have that in the video description as well as all the other links I mentioned in this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye, everybody.